And good afternoon. I'm Tracy Sinclair, and with me is Makayla Clark. You don't see her on camera a lot. She is one of our producers here. In fact, she's our senior producer here, but we also get to enjoy these great stories that Makayla puts together. You have a fascination for all things geologic.
Yeah, specifically natural disasters, which sounds kind of silly, like death, destruction. The fun part is talking to the people and learning what happened all these years ago that I wasn't around for, and being able to tell their really strong emotional stories.
Yes, and so the story that we're talking about right now, Makayla's series, is called The Fault in the Facts, and it's basically about different geologic events across Alaska. We've got a lot of land, we've got a lot of faults, we've got a lot of things going on. The one that we're talking about specifically here is you have recently done a story about two people who were teenagers during the 1964 earthquake, lived in Seward, and survived the tsunami that went through Seward and devastated that town. How did you come up with this idea? How did you find these people?
I was searching online, actually using social media as a resource, and one way or another, one of them was connected to me. And then that person, I heard their story, and they're like, actually, you should talk to this other person too. She has a really cool story. And so I talked with both of them and was able to kind of mesh their stories together. Two people, same age, in the same town at the same time, dealing with really different circumstances, having to make choices that would ultimately save their life or not.
Yeah, we focus a lot on the earthquake part of the 1964 earthquake, obviously, but there were several locations that were inundated with water, the tsunami that followed afterwards. Seward was one of those. So you started this, I know, because I've been around here. This is the 60th anniversary was the 60th anniversary of the 1964 earthquake, doing research for that. When you started doing the story, what did you expect to find? Any preconceived notions?
I think that the emotional story I was able to tell was a lot better than I expected to find. You know, this happened 60 years ago. These people are getting up in age. Some of them aren't here anymore. And so I think it's really important right now to talk to those people and tell those stories before that history is lost.
And what was something that might have surprised you when you found out about what these two stories?
I don't want to go too much into detail because I want you guys to see it when you're watching this story that's up on our website and streaming platforms.
Yeah.
But I talked to a man and a woman, and the woman, the things that she had to go through to survive, and one thing after another, it's what she had to do that is a crazy story. I've been telling everyone in the newsroom, like, you gotta watch this. It's not what you would expect.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we will show you where you can find that too. I have to press a couple buttons here so we can show that. Now, this is the story, The Fault in the Facts, Survivors Recount 1964 Seward Earthquake and Tsunami. It's about 7 minutes long. So this is not your typical TV story, but it is just kind of going through these two different experiences. How difficult was it to find like video representation or pictures from this era? Because as you said, this was 60 years ago.
It actually was really difficult. I ended up going down to Seward. I was able to kind of anchor this episode from location. One of the survivors gave me some photos that he and his father took. And then I worked with the Alaska Film Archives to get permission to use some video that they had that was donated to them or that they got in some way or another from those days, that day, the days after.
Yeah, and that is just amazing video that we've, I know when we were doing the special for the 1964 earthquake anniversary, which Makayla also produced, so she is quite knowledgeable about this subject. It really is amazing footage, and some of it is stuff that you're like, I haven't seen that. And I've been up here since '72, and I feel like I've seen all that stuff, but still you think about it, and there are just parts of that story that we don't know.
Absolutely, and I think every person that can talk about their experiences in this earthquake and tsunami is just one more story told and one more thing toward history.
And so what's your next story? Do you have any ideas of, I know you've got stories kind of lined up in in the back of your mind about what you want to do next. What's the next Fault in the Facts?
I'm not sure which one's going to come next, but I do have another survivor that was in Valdez at the time. I talked to him a few months ago, and I want to tell his story as well.
Is that the gentleman who was at the dock?
So that's a different one.
If you haven't seen this one is so moving, about a young man that had been down at the dock with his friends, had gone home, and then the tsunami came in and so many people were lost and the town was completely wiped out, and it is a really moving story. So you can also find that on our earthquake special.
And so this is a similar situation where I talked to him and then I've talked to his friend. And so I'll see if their stories mesh together or if it's just a story on its own and go from there.
Wow, these are great. And as you said, a lot of the people that were here and remember the '64 earthquake are starting to get up in age, and so we don't want to lose these tales of real experiences. So thank you for doing these stories. And I'm going to show you again where you can go to get a look at this. Check it out. It is The Fault in the Facts. Go to alaskasnewssource.com. It should be right there on the homepage. Not hard to find. And if for some reason you want to watch it and it's not on our homepage, just search Fault in the Facts and it will absolutely pop up. So these are really great stories, and this one is very people-based and very emotional, and you get to really hear what happened to their families and to these two teenagers at the time. And it's good. There's also some really great science stories in this series, so a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us here, and I hope you guys go and check out The Fault in the Facts and recount these stories of the 1964 earthquake and tsunami.